Hello, this is Tea with the Druid 152. Welcome, and let me press a few buttons here. Yeah, great. Lovely to see you. This tea is being brought to you by the Order of Bards, Adepts and Druids, and welcome if you're watching it live now, and welcome if you're watching the recording. And I can see on the comment stream, Fishy Fingers from Norfolk, Kai from North Germany, and Andreas from Portland, Oregon. Wow, that's been in the news a lot recently. Bonjour de Lille from Nathalie. Yes, great. And Wombwell in Barnsley. Hello from Wombwell. That's an interesting place. Sunny Colorado. And Ian is in damp Comox, Canada. And Alison's in the Scottish Highlands. So hello to you all. It's lovely to see you. Yes. So thank you to Roma for the lovely tea last week, where we met birds in the sacred grove. That was beautiful. Thank you so much for that. It was lovely to have Roma here. And today I wanted to talk about, well, to start with, look, here's the thing. The spiritual life, I think, is one of a continually striving attempt to be authentic and to be as honest as possible. And this is where confession comes in. And I know it's got distorted in Christianity in some ways, but there's a value in confession. And I'm going to confess to you tonight. And I'm so sorry that I've been misleading you for so long. But although this is called a Druid, whenever I raise this mug and drink from it, I have to confess that it has water in it. It doesn't have tea. For the first time, I've actually felt a real desire to bring tea in with me to a broadcast. So I feel like a fraud. I've been a fraud for the last 2 years or whatever it is, or 3 years, in calling it tea with a Druid. It's been water with a Druid, but it just sounded kind of boring to be water with a Druid. But now it's the real thing. You're getting the real thing because this is real tea. So I hope you've got a nice drink with you as well. And what I wanted to explore with you this evening is something so simple and yet so profound, I think. And to start our exploration of it, let me ask you a question, which is, are you feeling up or down? So just, if you can, just type in up or down. If you want to be contrary, you can type in level or something like that. But just type in up or down, and it's for no reason other to get some sense of where everybody's feeling and where you're at. And it's also to introduce the subject. Because there's down, down, up, up, down, up, down, up at the moment, a conditional up, a cautious up from Jerry. Okay, so that's great to see. So it looks like just very roughly about half and half at the moment. Now, one of the things, I don't know about you, but one of the things I love is how you can take something incredibly simple and find extraordinary depth and richness in this. So this sense of feeling up or down, we can start to explore by looking at why up and down are such powerful metaphors in our life. I'm working at the moment on a series of 3 workshops online where I compare 2 systems of personal development and problem solving, and they are sophrology and the silver method. And I've decided to compare them because they're both in many ways very similar and in many ways very different. So they make a great comparison. And they both have developed techniques for altering states of consciousness. And then in the altered state of consciousness, you are invited to engage in techniques to set goals, free yourself of anxiety, resolve problems, and so on. So how do they do it? Well, here's an interesting thing, particularly if you're following the Druid way, because you'll recognize it. Their simple methods for changing consciousness are a combination of a body scan and an imaginary place of tranquility and beauty in nature, and a few other things as well. to get people to that deep level where they can work. And if you're familiar with Druidry, you'll know that we have the light body exercise, an exercise where we work with the energy of our bodies to shift gears, as it were, and we work with this idea of the sacred grove, the clearing in the forest. Interestingly, sophrology works with that same image, but deriving it not from the ancient Druids, but from the philosophy of Heidegger, who uses the image of the clearing in the forest as a perfect metaphor for a liminal place. In the Silver method, you're encouraged to imagine any kind of natural setting, whatever appeals to you, so by a lake or by the sea or in a forest, whatever it is. But immediately you see, aha, these systems are onto something. They're all using the same techniques. In addition, silver each one will have various differences and so on. In silver, which is the workshop that I'm working on at the moment, you use a classic technique that's used in hypnosis of counting up and down. And I was wondering why, how this arose, this concept of using numbers. And I came across some very interesting writing from a psychologist in the beautiful Wellington, New Zealand, David Mason, who's got a site called besthypnosisscript.com, and he writes very interestingly about it. And he explains how the primal movement of up and down is embedded in our consciousness and in our felt body sense right from the beginning of our childhood. As babies, we're taken down to rest on the bed. People's voices drop down, the lighting drops down, and we go to sleep. So it's associated with relaxation, with rest, with the unconscious, with darkness. The sun sets, the sun goes down. The sun rises, we're lifted up out of the cot. We wake up. So even our language uses these same ideas, waking up, dropping down into sleep, and so on. And so the images of moving up and down are truly embedded in this deeply felt sense in our bodies and consciousness. And then we start to learn numbers, and we learn that numbers go up and down. And so in sophrology, for instance, there's a little technique of where we divide the body into systems, 5 systems, and then the whole body, which makes the 6th. And so once you've really worked with lots of body scans and lots of sophrology work with these different areas of the body, you can count yourself down into a deep relaxation really quickly. So if you're in a stressful situation, or you're just sitting on the train going to work and you're feeling a bit frazzled and you want to relax, you can close your eyes and just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you've dropped right down. Maybe you've dropped even from beta to alpha brainwave state. So, but then it starts to get more complicated, because ask yourself, here's another question. When you go into meditation, which direction are you taking? Are you, as you go deeper in awareness, are you going down or are you going up? Maybe you'd like to just type that in as well. When you go deep in consciousness, are you going down or are you going up? Up, says Jill. More comments. What a bombshell. I can't believe it. It was water all along. I feel cheated. I'm so sorry. But it feels good to tell the truth, doesn't it? So you've told the truth, I've told the truth. We were drinking water all this time. It wasn't even whiskey or vodka or something like that. It was just water. But now it's the real thing. It's tea. So Angela, up. Anybody else? Well, the interesting thing about this is what I'd suggest is, of course, we're going in. When you go into meditate, you go in some ways. But in a strange way, you're going out, aren't you? Because you're not going into your ego and your, when it's working in meditation, you're not going in that sense. You're going out. I experience meditative states as as paradoxical. So I'm going in my awareness, but in some ways that connects me to the whole world, to that sense of oneness, which has a dynamic of outwardsness. So in and out at the same time. And I'm going down, I'm dropping down into a kind of deepening of consciousness, but it's a heightened awareness. Again, it's paradoxical. So I couldn't say that I'm going either in or out, up or down. I'm doing them all. Because, of course, at this level of consciousness, you're transcending spatial categories. I suppose you'd have to say something like that. So let's work with this now. Let's get a real sense of this. I think there's a lot more to say. I can't think of what more there is to say, but I'm sure there is. It's a very rich field. But let's experience these ideas now in another way, at another level. In Yoga Nidra, one of the interesting things you do to deepen your level of consciousness, to change gears, to go higher or lower, or however you want to put it, you will often introduce paradoxical imagery or visualization. So you'll ask somebody to imagine that they're very hot and then very cold, and then very hot and then very cold, and then to imagine them happening perhaps at the same time, or to visualize that you're lying on, you're lying down in Yoga Nidra, that you're lying very high up on a mountaintop. And then imagine you're lying down at the bottom of a valley, and then see if you can sort of feel both at the same time, being high up and low down, high up and low down. And that paradoxical injunction projects you, or can project you, into another level of awareness. So, but it's good to begin by exploring them as discrete experiences. And let's do that if you're up for this. So if you'd like to close your eyes to better concentrate on yourself, you can be aware of sitting in front of your computer right now, or your screen. But at the same time, there's this awareness of that you're entering the inner state, the meditative state. Taking in a slow, deep breath, holding for a moment, and then letting that breath out as your body calms. And imagine that you're just coming towards a forest clearing. Gradually, as you move through the trees, you see this clearing in front of you. And it's really beautiful. It might be daytime, it might be nighttime, just see what it is. But you come into this forest clearing. There's a sense of safety and calm here. And just find a nice place to sit down. Or even lie down if you want to. Sit down or lie down on the ground, and you can feel the ground beneath you. And you feel the energy of the earth beneath you, bringing you a sense of stability and groundedness. And just let the healing rhythm of the earth flow through you. Feeling settled and comfortable here on the earth. And the earth is alive. And you sense the trees around you. And you sense how the trees are rooted deep in the earth. You sense their tall trunks rising up, their branches reaching high into the air. And you sense how these trees are living beings, brothers and sisters of life, standing here, bringing a sense of peace and also of energy and calm and health too. And then you become aware of the sky. And you breathe in the energy of the sky. And the energy of the sky flows into your being, and it meets the energy of the earth within the very center of yourself. And to begin with now, just imagine that you're moving your arms out and down. So you're pressing your palms gently, lying them gently on the earth. And you feel your connection to the earth and your love of the earth. And you feel how you're close to the earth. And you notice how you can perhaps in your imagination just go down into the earth a little. So imagine now that you just go down a few inches, just kind of start to go down into the soil. And so you can see the little worms moving around, sense the creatures, and you sense the richness of the soil. There's everything here: crystals, rocks, clay, sand, humus. And it feels good to be close to the earth, to feel the earth around you and the moisture of the earth around you. And you feel it so healing and invigorating. And now you decide that you're going to go up. And just imagine that you're coming up through the earth and you're going up and you're floating up. Effortless. You don't have to force it. It's just effortless. And you don't have to see anything either. Some people see things, some people just feel it. It's really about feeling, sensing, being in this imagined scenario, this imaginal world. Just feel yourself gradually coming up to the treetops, to the canopy of the forest. And why not go up a little higher? Let's go up higher. Go up, say, 20, 30, 40 foot, and look down on the forest, and look down on your forest clearing in your sacred grove, your clearing in the woods. And you see the canopy moving gently in the breeze. You sense all the life here. You can hear the birds singing. You can sense all this oxygen being released by the trees and the phenols, all the wonderful perfumes and healing goodness of the essential oils in the trees going into the atmosphere. And you're breathing this in and you feel your love for this forest below and this woodland below. And then gradually imagine that you're drifting down slowly, coming down, 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 till you come gently and beautifully to rest on the earth. Feeling connected to both sky and earth, the trees around you. Just come back into an awareness of your body and your embodied self. Gradually allow your awareness of the sacred grove to fade, of the clearing to fade. And just become aware of being in your body, at one with your body. Just accepting whatever feelings you're experiencing in your body. Just as you allow those feelings, whether there might be a little bit of discomfort here and there, or for some people even some pain or difficulty in some part of the body, or just feeling great in all parts of your body. However you're feeling, just allow those feelings. Just allow them. Just being here. Sensing peace within. May all our lives be blessed. May all lives be blessed. And may the land be blessed. And all beings. And then gradually allow your awareness of being seated in the room in front of your computer or screen to come to you. And slowly you open your eyes. Ms. Tree says, Awen, Awen, Awen. I feel, and then as soon as I entered the grove, I went to touch a tree and felt like I was climbing up it. I was a squirrel. It was hard to get back out of that critter mind. Yes. So going up and going down. And of course, we're used to the image of a tree presents us with the idea of going up or down absolutely graphically in front of us. You know, we can go down into the roots and into the underworld, down into this magical, mysterious kingdom, which is why those trees with tiny little fairy doors with little seeming doorways or openings inside, or trees that you can climb into and sit in, are so magical, because there's an invitation there to a whole realm, a whole world. But they also invite us to to look upwards and for our spirits to soar. You know, when you see an absolutely huge tree, it's the closest I get to the experience of worship, I think, or the desire to worship, is when I see the immensity of a tree. The other time actually is the immensity of a mountain. If those of you who know New Zealand, when you drive up Highway 1 going up the North Island, there's a point that you come to just as the desert road, the mountain desert road begins, where you kind of come over a crest, and then there is Mount Ruapehu in front of you with the snow on top. And it's massive and huge, and you almost hear, you know, some incredible music playing. And sometimes I used to just pull the car over and get out and kind of worship the mountain. And you're drawn to making these kind of gestures too, these gestures of worship, which are, to give you a secret, you know, that one of the penultimate gestures in sophrology. You learn the power of posture and gesture. One of the penultimate ones is like this, because when you really tune into your embodied awareness, if you stand with your feet slightly apart and your arms up like that, it uplifts you and brings energy into you as well. Rising up, and I saw somebody's talking about rising up, but I've missed the quote. But let's maybe finish with this idea of, you know, the injunction to rise up is powerful, isn't it? If I said now, let us all rise up, you'd say, okay, but what for? And you'd say, for justice and peace and love and gratitude and all the good things, you know. You'd say, I hope, yes, let's rise up. Where should we go? And it's thrilling to be invited to rise up, which is why, you know, when you hear something thrilling, you see some thrilling theatre or a performance, you are naturally rise to your feet. I love the moment at the end of a play or concert where there's a spontaneous standing ovation. You know, where people just stand up and roar their appreciation. So rising up, a fantastic feeling. And then dropping down. If I said to you the apparently opposite thing, let's drop down now into a sense of deep connection with the earth. Let's drop into a place of calm and peace. You might imagine, I don't know, diving into a beautiful clear pool, and, you know, images of dropping down into the ocean, you know, maybe meeting that lovely octopus in the film My Teacher the Octopus. I think that's the name. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful film. Find it on Netflix, I think. My Teacher, the Octopus. This lovely, lovely advanced being that is the octopus. So we want both. We want to rise up and we want to drop down. And Laura says, rise like lions after slumber. Yes, that's great. Zoe says, falling softly like a snowflake. My octopus teacher, Debbie Werner, thank you. My octopus teacher, absolutely stunning. Do watch it. In there, he drops down into the ocean and finds this lovely octopus, and he develops a relationship with it. JJ saying the simplest things answer our deepest needs. And yes, JJ, I mean, isn't it? It's so magical, isn't it? You know, we spend our whole lives searching for something fantastically complex to kind of make us feel good and to heal us and to resolve the awful sort of conflicts we get into and all the rest of it. And yet, with all our striving, you know, we come back to these deliciously simple ideas like dropping down or rising up. Yes, and Ellie is saying then rise, Old English, is risan, to rise from sleep. Yeah. Okay, so I always love doing these teas, and I'll be here next week, and so I very much look forward to being with you then. And I'm going to make more tea. I have a second cup of tea, and come back and read your comments. And have a lovely week and a lovely evening. So many, many blessings, much love, and see you again next week. Okay, bye.